Now, been traveling a lot recently, and these have been a must-have, essential for my journeys. They are the Tozo NC20 Pros. So these have active noise cancellation. They can reduce ambient sound by up to 52 decibels. They have a dynamic driver, which is 12 millimeters, delivering very good highs, nice lows as well, excellent vocals. And this, a unique feature, which is a case that has a colored screen on it, and you can control various things, including your media controls and the noise cancellation. For example, switch it into the transparency mode if you wanted to. Now, they do support that very high-end codec. That's the LDAC codec, of course, and that is about 3 times more than SBC. So that removes the terrible compression you get with the older codec, and really does improve the sound quality as long as your original source files are very good. And the runtime on these is excellent. So it's 30 hours on a single charge. That's using the SBC codec and the noise cancellation off. And with the case, it's 80 hours in total. Now they are also IPX8. So they're sealed, the unit, they're resistant to dust and splashes and whatnot, which is a great thing to have. So included with our NC20 Pros, you'll find a Type A to Type C cable. We get some spare silicon tips, different sizes too as well. So we do have the mediums already on them, but you get the extra smalls and the large in there. User manual, quick start guide, and this is a customer support card there with their contact, their website and email. So the case size is a typical TWS noise cancellation earbud kind of size, but that screen on it, far from being a gimmick. And as I mentioned there in the intro, it is very useful. So you can select your music tracks and just go along in here. See that? You don't need to use your phone, don't need to use your media player. You have your noise cancelling modes, you have your volume control, and I'll just show you here, you can even go and select the low latency mode. So basically, everything that's in the application is all on the screen, really. Find my earbuds. See this. The audio modes, you got music mode, spatial audio mode too, that it does support. And just go out of the screen because I don't have them removed. It just gave me that error then from the case. And the equalizers, you can even go through that all from the screen here, which is brilliant. And you'll see there, that's the controls for the music, which is the one I use the most. Now, if you go into settings, multi-point connection, so yes, you can pair it up to say your tablet and your phone. You have the wear detection to turn that on or off. I keep that on. And LDAC mode. So the LDAC will give us the absolute top quality. This is high-res audio wireless certified, and LDAC bitrate is about 3 times that of SBC, and it removes that compression, especially on the highs. It is notable, but it takes a toll on the battery. So battery life, 30 hours on a single charge from these, and with the case, it is 80 hours, as I said there in the intro. Now, they are very, very lightweight. You've got the capacitive touch controls on the back of them here, and there are 3 microphones on each of them. So the adaptive noise cancellation is using those mics, and also for the noise calls, the noise reduction, in calls. And I'll give you a sample of that too later in the video. So good build quality, silicon tips, easy to remove. There is a fine metal filter inside there, and that's good. You can see the charging contacts at the bottom, and those are the mics that will be used primarily for the voice calls, the others removing the background sound. So they sit in that case really well. They do not rattle. Lid closed with magnets there. And we have the pairing button at the bottom, or the reset button, and the charging port there. So really good quality from Tozo. Now the earbuds are 6 grams each. They are very light, and the whole total travel weight here, 54 grams, pretty standard. And yes, a couple other things about the case is that it will fit in that little jeans pocket. And yes, does support Qi standard wireless charging. As you can see, charging right now. Onto the audio quality then. So they've got a special driver in this Tozo, and the Tozo's driver is a SDLC, is what they call it, patent technology. And what they're doing is they're using a diamond-like carbon material in the diaphragm. It's a 12 millimeter driver, and what this does, it increases the stiffness of it and the internal dampening, so the rigid structure is going to give us still very detailed highs. And I can confirm that the highs are very good. They're detailed, they're crisp, they're not overly harsh either, yet we still get really good nice deep bass come through with these. And they're using titanium in that driver too as well, and it's a dual magnet speaker, so it is able to produce those really nice lows. Now, if you're going to use the LDAC codec, which I highly recommend, but only for high quality files, original files. So right now I'm playing a tune here, Take On Me from Aha, and it's only 192 kilobits per second. Not ideal, not a very good bit rate. So if I go into something else that I do have, I believe I have some FLAC files here, or really high encoded MP3s. So 320, okay. You were going to notice a little bit of a difference then with that, especially with the highs I do notice using LDAC, because the bit rate is 3 times that of SBC. It really comes through and it removes that compression, especially on the high end. However, the trade-off, like always I've mentioned in my videos, that LDAC does burn through the battery a lot quicker. So instead of having a runtime of 30 hours with ANC off and you're using SBC, well, with LDAC on and then ANC on, you're probably looking at about 12 hours, 11 and 12 hours or so. That's a huge reduction, yes, but you gain that quality, but still enough for my long haul flight. So the battery life has been very good. And the big one for me has been the noise reduction. So that is minus 52 decibels with the adapted noise cancellation with them. And that's made a big difference, especially flying, reducing that cabin noise, reducing the voices of people and other background noises. It has been quite noticeable there. So the ANC working brilliant, and overall really impressed with the sound quality through these. The bass, the highs, vocals also sounding really good. And you've got spatial audio option. If you wanted that, you can use that. Myself personally, I haven't really been using the spatial audio apart from just testing it out. And it adds a different level of immersion to it, but I prefer just to have the standard music mode. So this is our application that you can get on iOS for your Apple devices, Google Play Store. And once you have them connected up, you'll see the NC20 Pros come into the screen called AirTune. Now this is a test. It's going to test your hearing ability, because some people can't hear certain high frequencies. Maybe you have some damage to your ears, and everyone is a little bit different on what they can hear. And this is a good option to run through this test. I won't show it in this video because it's about a minute or two to go through it all. And it's just playing different frequencies and asking if you can hear it or not. And then it will customize the audio according to, well, what your ears are capable of. So it's a great option to have that. And we have our ANC options, so you can see the transparency mode that's amplifying your ambient noises. Great for when you are in an environment, maybe an office, so you need to hear people talking to you or something. Or if you're out and about walking and you want to hear traffic approaching, I do highly recommend you use that then for obvious safety reasons. You've got the normal mode, adaptive, and a wind reduction mode there too, and a leisure mode. Equalizer, so there are some 32 presets that Tozo does have. And we have our different sound modes. So I mentioned that before. There is the spatial audio if you want that, something that's more immersive. I keep it on the music mode myself. And this is the customization for the case, for the screen. So you can control the timeout of it, the screen brightness, language there, customize the wallpaper too. We've got that option. And over-the-air updates. Settings, there's a lot in here. So LDAC, as I mentioned before earlier in the video, that really, if you've got great source files with a high bit rate, then you're going to get a benefit out of using LDAC. If you don't, just leave it off and use the standard codec. Touch controls there. You can go along and customize that. The capacitive touch controls can sometimes be a little bit hit and miss. Find my earbuds, the over-the-air updates for this too as well for the earbuds themselves, and the dual device connection, wear detection, and the low latency mode, which I have turned on. I'm going to be testing that out now. So it's a great application here. Huge amount of options, but most of the time, doing all of that on the screen itself, because a lot of what's on the screen is in the app. So that's why I just use the screen. So watching streaming content, Netflix, this is an episode of The Witcher. This is season 3. It's good. Of course, the earpieces are here, but when I do have them on, I notice that it goes with the actors' mouths, and that's great using the low latency mode. Now, if you are gaming, there is still a split-second delay with games, but it is one of the best when you turn on the low latency, that it's really, really only a fraction of a second. That's the only time you're going to detect it is gaming, the latency. Microphone sampled now with the NC20 Pro. So I do have an ambient train track playing in the background, London, Victoria, and it is removing that completely using its AI. The Tozo NC20 Pros, very comfortable to wear because of the stem design, so they haven't come out on me. The only real complaint I have is sometimes the capacitive touch controls, they don't work and you have to press again. But normally you get that audio confirmation too, so you know that, oh yeah, it did register that I want to turn on the noise cancellation or turn it off. And of course, you can use that case, which is fantastic to have this all on the screen. I'm actually really liking this. I thought at the beginning that, oh, you don't really need a screen on the case. Why on earth do you need a screen? But having used it now for over a month and traveling a lot, as I mentioned, it has come in really handy to be able to control the noise cancellation, to see my battery life, to change the track, the music track, all through that screen, which has been very handy. Now, talking a little bit about that noise cancellation, as I mentioned, I've been on flights and it really blocks out that ambient noise. I've tested some audio tracks here in my house with a noisy train station and whatnot through my speaker system, and it really does make a noticeable difference. In fact, when you put them in and you turn them on, you straight away, you notice that the noise cancellation is excellent. Now, they do claim that it's up to minus 52 decibels in reduction that's going to offer us. The voice call sample that I gave you also did a very good job of removing all that ambient noise so I could be understood in a very loud environment. It wasn't incredibly clear, it was a little bit muffly, and that's just how it is going to be. But factor in that if I didn't have that noise cancellation, removing the background ambient noises, you probably wouldn't have been able to make me out at all. So it does make a huge difference. So you get the powerful bass out of these, that 12mm dynamic driver. And we do get really good highs. They're detailed, they are crisp. The lows are excellent as well. Vocals sound great, instruments and everything. I think the sound quality on these is really right up there for what is on offer. You get a lot, the wireless charging with the case and the LDAC support. The only downside to that, as I pointed out, is the battery life will take quite a big hit. If you have ANC on, LDAC, then of course they will not go for 30 hours on a single charge. But if you wanted that battery life, then you turn both of those features off. So it's all there. The options, if you want, you have to decide between battery runtime and then audio quality using LDAC. So fantastic, the Tozo NC20 Pros. Thank you so much for watching this video.